Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning into Tim's Got a YouTube channel. Today, click like, share, subscribe, like, all that good shit. Today, we're going to be talking about the Netflix comedy specials. And we're going to be talking about the chronological order of them, how they came out. A lot of greats have been seen. Netflix has somehow become Comedy Central. I don't know how that worked, but I don't mind. That's where people go to get their comedy, especially their stand-up comedy now. They have definitely carved a lane out in that, but mostly we're going to be talking about Monique. Just because I have a theory, based on the specials that we're going to talk about leading up to Monique. I think that Netflix may have been a tad petty in their practice. This was brought to my attention by my lovely woman, and it was I don't know. If you haven't seen the Monique special, you're gonna hear me talk about it. It doesn't matter. You should watch it for yourself. There are a lot of comedians in Atlanta who look up to Monique. Let's be very clear. Monique carves out a lane for herself in comedic history. She is part of the story. There's no one's doubting that in any capacity whatsoever. That is before she was an Academy Award winner. So let's be very honest about that whole situation. Monique is a talented woman. We know that. I am not disparaging Monique's talent. I'm questioning it. I'm questioning her intent with her words and her energy, but no one's questioning her talent. She's an amazing woman, and like I said, she is part of the comedy story. If you know anything about the history of female comedy in America, then Monique's part of that story. So shut up. It doesn't matter. Now, how her legacy will be received later on in life, based on her energy and her intent, might change. I don't feel that. I don't know. But before we get into that, let's talk about these comedy specials. Netflix has been pumping them out like crazy, and I've watched them all. Even the bad ones. And there weren't a lot of bad ones. HBO's been putting out trash comedy specials. Listen, there is a world where people are getting comedy specials. I've seen 2 HBO comedy specials. I wish I could name them, but I don't know who they are because they're YouTubers and they have 1 million followers or 2 million followers and things like that. So that is how they gain their popularity. For people to come watch you on stage do the same shit that you do on YouTube is peculiar to me, but I am a stand-up comedian. And everybody can't be a stand-up. Everybody can't be like, I'm a stand-up, but my bread and butter is writing. Anybody will tell you that. Anybody in Atlanta, Tim, he's a great stand-up, but he's a better writer. They probably say he's a decent stand-up. he's a great writer. They might not say I'm a great stand-up, depending on who you ask. When I travel outside of Atlanta, Atlanta's a different vibe. But I think that maybe everybody has a lane where they can put their passion into and still entertain people and get that satisfaction that you need, because, that's a lot of what it is. It's this satisfaction, this need, this draw to have a mic in your hand. It's some kind of terrible, terrible sickness that comedians have. It is it's like a bunch of little crackheads, man. It's awful. Everybody wants that mic, man. I want that mic. I want to tell my fucking story. I want to tell how bad my life is, how much I want to talk about it. And it's funny how that goes because it's everywhere. You go to a comedy club anywhere in the country, probably anywhere in the world. Anybody who wants to do comedy is there, and they are there. Come hell, they have driven miles. They have no money. They stay with their mama. Comedy is it's definitely one of those, you got to be in it for the long game. So it's confusing when you see comedians like DC Young Fly and Jess Hilarious and other little situations where you just see this industry choosing popularity over quality. and that's quantity over. I mean, quantity over quality is totally an American vibe. That's what we do, man. That's what we do. That is what we do. We want it fast, we want it hard, and we want a lot of it. So, you know, looking at those diamonds in the roughs and looking at those funny ass comedians that you will never see, never make it, is the thing. I might be one of them. There'll probably be nobody that watches this shit. But I watched every special, man. I watched every special. Starting off with Gabriel Iglesias, next to George Lopez, Fluffy Iglesias, if you don't know. Next to George Lopez, he's probably one of the more well-known, stand-up comedians. He's got an amazing following by the Mexican community. He's from LA. Great voiceover actor. He was the Speedy Gonzalez in the new Space Jam. He just did his special in Dodger Stadium. I think he sold it out 2 or 3 nights. And that's insane. That's insane. That motherfucker got every Mexican in fucking California there, you know? But that special was okay. It was all right. But he's got such a legacy of consistency. It was kind of, I even want to say it might have been like the culmination of his career. Like, he's an epic voice actor. He doesn't, like I said, everybody's got stand-up, but he makes his money off of voice acting. He's amazing with the voices. So, Gabriel Iglesias is killing it in that situation. But his stand-up, 1 to 10, 7, you know? And it wasn't bad. And mind you, and I guess some people might say it's a cultural difference and I don't fucking understand Cholo comedy. That's not the case. His was very informative, very commentary driven. And that's one style of comedy. You're going to get a lot of commentary. His commentary led into jokes. It took him a long time to get there. But he also did one of the first Netflix specials I ever seen where a motherfucker was just on for like 2 hours. I feel like he did like an hour and a half or some shit like that. He was on there for a long time. He even talked about how long he was on the stage. So it was okay. He had some great jokes. There was a joke about a roach, but you know, he's LA, so all those jokes are about COVID-19. So it's hard to talk about that because I live in, you know, Georgia, where we never fucking went inside. So you'll also notice that with a lot of LA comics. It's a lot of West Coast comics are doing a bunch of COVID-19 stuff, and it's 2023, and you're like, aren't we not done with this? Haven't we not talked this shit to death? But in reality, they haven't talked it to death because they haven't been out there performing. So they've been sitting on this. They've been sitting on these jokes, and that's why we're getting them like that. So it was basically a COVID-19 set. That's what he talked about. That's what he talked about. That was his whole bit. It all kept coming back to COVID. It all kept coming back to COVID. So in that capacity, meh. Joe Coy, always a 10. Always a 10. Always a 10. And if you're not familiar with Joe Coy, he is Filipino. Definitely has a very strong following in the Asian community and the Latino community. He crosses both of them. Also an LA cat. He talked a lot about his special was fantastic. He's always so good. He owns it. He is okay with, this is his 4th Netflix special. I want to say the last one he did in the Philippines. Showcase Filipino comedians before him. It was really good. He's always just right on top of it. Now this is part of my Monique conspiracy theory. So now listen. Joe Coy, when he goes into this, I want to say he does an hour and 20. These guys have been doing a little over an hour. Like, not a little over, way over an hour. These aren't hour-long specials. They are hitting it. You know, these hour 30s, you know? And when he gets into it, man, he starts talking about how hard he worked to get Netflix to see him. Now, mind you, so chronologically, and mind you, this is all this year. Yes, this is all this year. Had to be. Yes, this is all this year. So chronologically, you got Gabriel Iglesias, Joe Coy, and then I think you got a small break. I'm not sure who. There might be one person in there that I'm missing, and then it goes to Chris Rock, and then some more, and then Monique. So now we're at Joe Coy, and Joe Coy's special was fucking hilarious, as it always is. He's so good, and but he was speaking about his drive to Netflix, his how when he paid all of his money, got all of his money set up and did everything he could to make it the best special he could. He got all this taken care of, and when he sold it to Netflix, they said before he even made it, Netflix was telling him no. So that's crazy, you know? And then he comes out with it, and they see it, and they're like, don't shop it anywhere else, and Netflix ends up picking it up in the end. Monique had a different approach, didn't she? So Joe Coy moves on. Great special. Touched on anything. Lots of COVID-19 stuff. He's from the West Coast. That was about most of his set. So it's one of those things where he's killing it, man. He's killing it. He's got it figured out. So Joe Coy murders it. Then we get to Chris Rock, the much anticipated Chris Rock comedy special. He's going all over the country preparing for this comedy special. It's Netflix's first live comedy special, so that's insane. You could tell it was live. The energy was fucking palpable. It was nice, man. He was feeling himself. He was pacing the whole Chris Rock pace. But he's going to drop jokes. Now, Chris is a technician. And also with the Joe Coy thing, also a technician. A blend of jokes and story. Making a joke within the story and layering those, boom, 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 so that he can, make the best out of it. Chris Rock, technician. Been working this material for a whole year. Everywhere. Comes here, does the material. Comes here, all here. He's at the Fox, sells out the Fox. Will Smith slaps Chris Rock into a whole bunch of money because those ticket prices went up after he slapped him too. I know friends that had bought tickets for $49 to go see Chris Rock, and I was trying to get some $49 tickets myself, and they were all up to $300, all of them. So, on top of the $40 million that Netflix gave him, from what I understand, I'm not sure if those are the accurate numbers, but it's somewhere in that market. And so everybody wants to see that special. Everybody wants to see that special. And everybody wants to know what's Chris going to say? What's Chris going to say? And yes, he told jokes. He talked about Will. He did callbacks, like wouldn't want to make another rapper angry. A complete technician in every way. Wouldn't want to make another rapper angry. He said that 3 times in his set. So when you look at the Chris Rock set, and if you're a fan of comedy, he did all the things that you're supposed to do. He did his callback, he did his setup, he did his crowd work, he did everything you're supposed to do. He was live. He messed up a joke and then brought it back, which is hard. But he messed up a joke and brought it back. It was good. It was good stuff. And for the people who don't, you know what? He can call, it's comedy, man. And she is a bitch. Like, it's comedy and she is a bitch. It's okay, guys. And you guys know who I'm talking to. First off, ain't nobody watching this shit. Ain't nobody watching this shit. You can't cancel some shit that ain't being watched. So there we have that comedy special. And then we have some more. Who is constantly on tour, by the way. She is very much so part of the comedy circuit, and she is tearing people's ass apart everywhere she goes. She comes up with a comedy special. I gotta see it. No matter what, if it's a comedy special, I want to see it. I want to see what's out there. I want to know what I need to prepare for. I need to prepare. That's all I'm doing. I'm watching tape, just like a basketball player or a football player would do, or a boxer. Because I want to know the styles. I want to know all the different ways to go about finding a joke. I want to know how to manipulate a crowd. I want to see it done so I could do it for myself. Like, what is it? I can't remember. But something about copying people is the best form of flattery. I wish I was more articulate at that point. See what I'm saying? And this is why you got to do that shit. So, I watched some more special. She's also a queen of comedy. I've heard somebody say the other day that they thought it was wrong. It was DC last night at the Dis Race show every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Don DC Curry said that he was like, he didn't feel like it was cool that they had put both of the black women in such a close proximity of each other. Don't get me wrong. All of the specials that I just talked about were very spaced out. And some more special came out. It's the beginning of April. Some more special came out in the beginning of March. So none of the specials I mentioned when I talk about Gabriel, Joe Coy, or Chris Rock, all those were at least 2 to 3 months apart. 2 months apart. 3 months maybe. So, some more does her special. It's amazing. It's amazing. She even has a Monique joke. It's amazing. And she gives Monique her flowers in the joke. I hate saying that. I shouldn't say that. I don't like saying that, giving her flowers. I just feel like that's what people need to hear. Give them their fucking flowers. Shut the fuck up about the flowers. God damn it. So then I watched the Monique special. I'm going to get out of your hair in a second. I watched the Monique special, and it's loud. It's loud, and she's aggressive. Downright mannish. Very masculine energy. She explains that in her comedy and why she's such a strong black woman. A lot of the set was her validating the story. I don't know how good the set would have been had Monique not had to go through all the trials and tribulations of getting the Netflix special. So, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that. I really don't know what to say about that. It is lots of resume reading, lots of name dropping. Like I said, she has written her. She is inscribed on the comedy Bible. She's in there. She's not going anywhere, guys. She's not going anywhere. I don't mean this in any disparaging way. This is my opinion. There are a lot of comedians in Atlanta that want to work with. Monique has got such a strong following. She can go up and do that kind of set and feel fine with it. But she had 3 bits. She didn't tell any real jokes. It was all storytelling. Hilarious references. But the idea of that commentary vibe that a Rothaniel did, or maybe a Dave Chappelle is even known for, that commentary vibe should come with the vibe that you're having a conversation with that person who is giving that commentary. And it was so aggressive, and it was so, she validated why she told somebody to suck her dick because she had heard her Uncle Danny say it or something like that. I mean, I feel like you would have to know Monique personally to understand and really get the gravity and laugh at those jokes like that. I've never really been a big Monique fan when it comes to her stand-up. She's an amazing actress. She's a fantastic speaker and things like that. But, I haven't really heard a lot of her new stand-up since she was doing the skinny bitch set. But Monique is fantastic at her job. She's just not we were talking about it yesterday. She just her intent seemed misdirected. It didn't seem like she came to make people laugh. It seemed as though she came to validate, resume drop, and explain. And that's just not, to me, my opinion, it's not stand-up comedy. You see, at least it's not good stand-up comedy. Clearly it was stand-up comedy. It's got a Netflix special. It's in the stand-up comedy section. But it just wasn't great, guys. It wasn't great. Now, she also filmed that thing like last year. Is it possible that based on Gabriel Iglesias' success, Joe Coy's success, him explaining his struggle, and him driving to be the best comedian he could be so that he could have Netflix wipe his ass with money, a Chris Rock special that was fantastic, and some more special, was Monique put on the back end of all those, because they're not, I don't know if you know how this shit works, but they're not just getting specials and just putting them in as they come in. Netflix dictates the order of how these come out. Is it possible that Netflix, in their pettiness, and as is their motherfucking right, gave Monique a special, looked at the special, knew it was going to be awful, and put it on the back end of so many great specials only to accentuate how bad it was going to be? Is it possible that a network is that petty? Because she drug them niggas' name through the mud, called them racist, called them everything. She drug them through the mud to get that little terrible special she did. I'm sorry for my words, Monique. Like I said, she's a fantastic actress, and she is etched in comedy history. But that special was trash. It was awful. I will be going back to count how many goddams and motherfuckers were in the special. Honestly, I probably don't even have to go back. I can probably get right on fucking YouTube or get on some kind of chat bot and find out right now. So, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Is Netflix out to get Monique? Did they set her up? They look at that shitty special and say, oh, she gonna fuck this up good, and it's not gonna be anybody's fault but hers? Comment, let me know, click like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tim's Got a YouTube channel. I love me some Monique. I mean, I like her. I hope I get to work with her. And, but, you know, I'm entitled to my fucking opinion as well. I'm sure she's fucking delightful to be around, but it wasn't great. And all the ones before that I said were great. Gabriel was decent. Like I said, lots of commentary, short joke patterns, laughs per minute weren't really there. It just wasn't, what I was used to. It wasn't his normal set. But, you know, he's 30 years in the game, and he came out to see fans that are geared to him. So it doesn't really matter what the fuck he says. Will Monique ever have new fans? Is she building a new fan, a new fan base? Probably not. But like Monique, most of her fans will probably die from high cholesterol at an early age. All right, you guys have a good one. Please don't cancel me, Monique. I love you. Bye, baby. Bye, my babies. Bye, baby. That dumb shit.